We are on code over here. Don't come over here talking about where stream or the brothers over here, it's just a little too much with it. No, idiot. We know what we're talking about over here. We know we're on code over here. We are on code over here. This is what they're doing.
Who got a problem? I'm doing what? Staying on code, in my opinion. Until I see otherwise, I'm staying on code. Next thing.
Once used a trusted nurse to torture hundreds of men for 40 years. In 1932, Eunice Rivers walked through rural Alabama, offering free healthcare to poor black sharecroppers. The men trusted her completely. She was from their community, spoke their language, and promised to cure their bad blood. What they didn't know was horrifying. Rivers was recruiting them for the Tuskegee syphilis study, where doctors would watch syphilis destroy their bodies without treating them. Even when penicillin was discovered as a cure, researchers deliberately withheld it. For 4 decades, men went blind, lost their minds, and died in agony while doctors took detailed notes. Their wives caught the disease. Babies were born infected and deformed, all while government researchers watched and documented every gruesome detail. In 1972, a whistleblower finally exposed the truth. By then, dozens had died preventable deaths while their government used them as human lab rats. Medical racism disguised as healthcare for 40 years. Did you know the US government once used a trusted nurse to torture hundreds of men for 40 years?
The most shocking part of the Tuskegee syphilis study wasn't just the government's lie. It was the fact that they hired a black woman, Nurse Eunice Rivers, to be the friendly face that convinced 600 black men to trust their own killers. For 40 years, the government didn't hide behind white doctors. They hid behind Nurse Rivers. She drove the men to their appointments, gave them special lunches, and told them that they were being treated for bad blood. She knew they weren't getting medicine. She was the one who tracked them down to make sure they didn't get penicillin for other doctors. The government knew we wouldn't trust them, so they weaponized our own community against us. Was she a victim of the system or a willing participant? That's the question the archive is asking today. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that she was just a pawn, or do you think that she was guilty?
Rivers. Was she a race traitor? Eunice Verdell Rivers. Was she a race traitor or dedicated nurse? Eunice Verdell Rivers became one of the first African Americans to be employed by the United States public health system, thus paving the way for other people of color in this area of service. Rivers started working at the public health system during a time in which the United States was in the worst economic depression in its history. Beginning in 1932, Eunice Verdell Rivers worked for the United States public health system on the study of untreated syphilis in the Negro male in Macon County, Alabama, popularly known as the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. She is best known for her work as the coordinator of the Tuskegee syphilis experiment from 1932 to 1972. The Tuskegee experiment was an inhumane study that deliberately allowed black men to develop a painful disease when there was a cure. Rivers recruited 399 African American men with syphilis for the study and worked to keep them enrolled as participants in the program. In return for her participation, the study supposedly offered participants free medical care, which Nurse Rivers provided. Rivers was the experiment's only consistent full-time staff member. Eunice Rivers held the crucial task of playing the liaison between the predominantly white medical staff and the African American patients. She was responsible for keeping track of the study subjects and ensuring that the study could have access to the autopsies of the dead. Within the first 20 years of the study, Rivers approached 145 families and obtained autopsy rights from 144. Her work was essential to the progression of the study. Although the study was initially planned to run only 6 months, it eventually extended to 40 years. During the entire study, the participants were not informed that the ailment they called bad blood was actually syphilis. The black man saw a familiar face in Eunice Rivers, backed by a reliable government program, and felt comfortable receiving the free treatments.
All right. I think at that point you get the point. Welcome back and salute everybody in the building.
fabricated story, and it changed how Black Americans view the healthcare system. Eunice Verdell Rivers was born in 1899 in Georgia. She grew up in the segregated South, where opportunities for Black women were limited, especially in professional fields. Education required determination, and nursing required even more. Eunice attended the Tuskegee Institute and completed training as a nurse at a time when Black medical professionals were rare. She entered a profession rooted in care and trust, serving communities that often had little access to health care. In 1932, she became the nurse for what became known as the Tuskegee Syphilis Study, a 40-year government study that misled Black men about their diagnosis and withheld treatment. Even after penicillin became the standard treatment in the 1940s, it was withheld. The purpose of the study was to observe the natural progression of the disease. Eunice maintained relationships with participants, believing she was providing care. But the study caused lasting harm and distrust in the medical system. The study was exposed in 1972. She died in 1986. In 1997, the U.S. government issued a formal apology. This story reminds us medical ethics matter. And
wait a damn minute. Wait a damn.
Blotitious, skeevy, delicious. Give me couscous, love me good. Damn. Hollis to Hollywood, but is he good? I guess like the jeans. Flavor like pralines. Blotitious, skeevy, delicious. Give me couscous, love me good.